In today's video, we're going to be talking about getting an offer from another company and then how to take that back to your employer and use that to negotiate a raise, an increase, or a promotion. Let's go. Now, first and foremost, in my opinion, there are two questions here. There's the first question: how can you do this effectively, causing minimal waves and for the most gain and benefit for you? And the second question is, should you even do this? In today's video, we're going to talk about both of those things. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about how. How would you go about doing this effectively so you can get an increase or a promotion or raise, whatever it is you want to do? So first and foremost, you have to go out there, apply, interview, and get an offer. After that, after you have an offer in hand and it's in the type of position you want, with the type of salary, whatever it is you're hoping to achieve, once you have that, then you set a meeting on your boss's calendar. And this is supposed to be your 2 weeks notice meeting. So you go in there and you can say, hey, I've gotten an offer. And while you are still considering it, right, you feel as if you need to put in your 2 week notice. So I might phrase it like this: hey, do you have a minute? Then you go in there and you're like, well, I wanted to be upfront with you and honest. I recently received an offer and gosh, I really like it here. I don't want to leave. But I feel like given what they have shared with me, I have to give my 2 weeks notice and make this move for myself and my family, right? So you're putting it out there. I did a few things here. I want to circle back and tell you what I did and why it matters. Now, first, I said that they reached out to me. It's important just in terms of letting them know that you're not actively looking to leave. This isn't a problem they're going to have to contend with 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. It's something that's going on right now. They reached out to you, they pursued you, you weren't looking, you had a conversation, and it led to this. I think setting that groundwork is really important here when they're examining your motivation. You'll notice then I said, I didn't want to leave. I'm actually really happy here. But given the offer they gave me and the increase in compensation and role scope and all that things, I feel like I just can't turn down what they have. Right? So again, you're setting the groundwork that you're happy, you didn't want to leave, but they just made you an offer that's so compelling that you feel like you have to, even though you don't want to. What you're trying to do here is you're leaving the door open for them to say, okay, well, what can we do? How about if we match that? What if we go over the top of that and we give you something even better? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to give your motive that I didn't want to do this, but I can't turn this down. I simply can't. Now, one of two things is going to happen here. If they are interested, they are going to open up a dialogue. They're saying, well, Ben, we don't want you to leave either. We think you're a great employee. Let me go and talk to my boss, but let me ask you this question. If I can do something and match what they've given you, or I can exceed it, would you be willing to consider staying? To which point, if that was your end game, if that was you were trying to achieve, you go, yeah, I think I would be. At the end of the day, I don't want to leave. I just have a really hard time walking away from this opportunity, given what they're going to give me here and what this offer states. But I would certainly be open to anything you were to bring back to me because I like it here. You're a great boss. I love the company, and my preference would be to not leave if you guys could match what they're doing or exceed it. The other thing that might happen is they might go, wow, that's a great offer, Ben. Congratulations. We're going to miss you around here. And if that happens and you weren't trying to actually leave, you can't be like, wait, psych? No, I was just kidding. I actually love it here. I don't want to go to that company. It was just an offer. So this brings up a really important point. It's that if you don't want to leave, if you are not willing to go, if you're not willing to say, yep, thanks, goodbye, here's my 2 weeks, then you shouldn't use this tactic. Because they might say, hey, I understand it, that's a great offer, thanks for letting me know, sorry to lose you, but yeah, I get it, I wouldn't turn it down either, goodbye. So if you're not really ready to walk, then you shouldn't use this. Now let's talk about, should you do this in general, right? Like, is this a strategy you should do? No. I don't think you should do this. I know that this is very popular. People go out and they get offers and they bring it back and they go, hey, can you match this? Because if you can, I'm out of here. And a lot of times they do. But here is the troubling reality. That is a counteroffer. When you get an offer and your current employer counters you, that is what's referred to as a counteroffer. And if you don't believe me, Google counteroffers. But here is the harsh reality of counteroffers. 90% of people who accept a counteroffer leave that employer within the next 12 months. So let me say that again, one more time. If you have 10 people and 10 people accept a counteroffer, within 1 calendar year, 9 of them will no longer be at that employer. Some of the time it's by their own will. Some of the time the company chooses to move on. Either way, the math isn't great. And in the words of Jay-Z, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I want to add in a point here. Everybody also thinks they're that 1 in 10. So like every time I talk to a person who is considering a counteroffer, they're always like, yeah, Ben, but I think I'm that one. I think I'm that person who they're gonna keep around. Me and my boss have a great relationship. So if you're feeling like that, I just want you to know everybody feels like that, but the number is still 90%, which is a bad number. So here's what I think you should actually do. If you feel like you are undercompensated, if you feel like you should be making more, you should be in a higher role, you should be having more vacation, instead of going through all that trouble, interviewing, wasting a bunch of other people's time, set some time on your boss's calendar and have a candid, honest conversation with them and say, look, I've done a little bit of market research, obviously do that research. I think for my contribution in my position in this market, I feel like I'm undercompensated. I'd like to talk to you about maybe finding a way for us to bridge that gap and get me to where I think would be equitable. If they can do that, it's so much more of a healthy conversation, right? And the way they respond to this is gonna tell you a lot about whether you wanna stay there in the beginning or not, right? Like if they're like, Ben, I don't care, take your numbers, shove them. You might wanna look for that different job anyway. But if they're really receptive to this and they go, you know what, Ben, you have been doing a good job and I do want you to feel like you're compensated fairly. Let me see what I can do. And they do that, then you don't have to worry about playing those terrible 1 in 10 odds, right? Your boss heard you and addressed it and made it right. It's just a better way to go about it. Again, and if they do it, great. You don't have to go through a process of taking half days, interviewing, wasting people's time, and you realize that your boss is a reasonable person who's willing to work with you and make sure you're compensated fairly. And if they don't do it, if they go, yeah, Ben, no, not gonna do it, I'm not interested. Well, that tells you everything you need to know about where you stack up in their future plans, and with peace of mind, you can go pursue a different role. Hey, so this video is done, but you gotta watch this one now because this is my video on counteroffers. I am telling you, if you are even thinking about doing this strategy, you're even thinking about considering accepting a counteroffer, you gotta watch this. I told you the math. 1 in 10. Some of you aren't convinced, but even if you are, I walk through why those numbers are so bad right here.